Delhi police exposes international conspiracy linked to malicious toolkit shared by Greta Thunberg. Lawyer Nikita, her friend Shantanu made the toolkit. Conspirators linked to pro-Khalistani Poetic Justice Foundation. Agenda of the toolkit was to destabilize India. Non-bailable warrants issued against Nikita and Shantanu. Centre takes historic decision to deregulate geospatial map-making and unshackle the geospatial sector. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says liberalizing policies governing acquisition and production of geospatial data is a massive step in our vision for Atmanirbhar Bharat. Says these reforms demonstrate commitment to improve ease of doing business, and India's farmers will also benefit hugely. External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Japan's Ambassador to India Satoshi Suzuki attend convention on Act East policy and India-Japan cooperation in Northeast India with special focus on Assam. The minister says Act East must begin by giving necessary attention and resources to our own states in the East and Northeast. The two leaders review a number of development projects. Military government in Myanmar cracks down against protesters across the country. Armored vehicles deployed. Imprisonment up to 20 years for protesters announced. Protesters hit back, surround headquarters of Suu Kyi's party as well as Napita prison. High school students freed from prison. G7 leaders to hold virtual meet on Friday to discuss coronavirus pandemic as well as equitable distribution of the vaccines. 25.3 million active cases across the world. In the UK, hotel quarantine kicks in for passengers from 33 red list countries to curb variants coming in from other countries. Rescue efforts continue in Uttarakhand. Death toll in the avalanche rises to 55. Announcement for compensation of rupees 20 lakhs each for families of those still missing. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to address webinar for consultation on roadmap for effective implementation of Union Budget 21-22 in infrastructure and sector on Tuesday. Over 200 panelists, including representatives of major financial institutions, funds, consultants, subject matter experts to participate. Stock markets continue to be on a high. Sensex rally 610 points, closes at 52,154. Nifty ends above 15,300, led by banks. And in cricket, India in driver's seat on day 3 of the second test match against England at Chepauk, chasing mammoth victory target of 482 runs. Visitors lose 3 early wickets in India's second innings. R. Ashwin hits his 5th test century. Welcome to this bulletin. I'm Shubhendu Ghosh. Delhi police on Monday identified the creators and editors of Toolkit document, which is linked to the violence that took place during January 26 tractor rally. The police investigation has revealed the involvement of Khalistani groups in creating the toolkit that was aimed at creating Twitter storm, tarnish India's global image. Delhi police has also got in touch with Google, on whose platform the toolkit document was created, and has posed several questions to the tech giant. Here's more.
New facts are surfacing in the toolkit case linked to anti-India propaganda. Delhi police on Monday made some big revelations in the case. According to the police, in the aftermath of the violence during the tractor rally of 26 January, police had been closely monitoring social media activity. That is when the said Google toolkit document was traced. Further investigation showed how the toolkit exposed international conspiracy with links to pro-Khalistan organization. The agenda was to provoke unrest in India and tarnish the international image.
Initial investigation of this toolkit document revealed that it was created by a pro-Khalistani group named Poetic Justice Foundation and people associated with it. One portion of the toolkit document mentioned action points named prior action. As you are aware, they were digital strike-through, hashtag on 26 January. The second part of the same document mentions tasks such as disruption of India's cultural heritage such as yoga and tea, and targeting Indian embassies abroad in various capitals. The time-bound action points and program given in the toolkit, when viewed in the context of actual developments in Delhi, clearly showed that the action plan that was formulated in the toolkit was implemented on ground or executed in a copycat manner.
According to the police, Nikita Jacob and her friend Shantanu created the toolkit and then shared it with others. Disha Ravi helped in editing the content of this document. The three were in touch with Canada-based pro-Khalistan organization called Poetic Justice Foundation. A Zoom meeting was held among them ahead of the Republic Day violence.
During the investigation, many screenshots of the toolkit document available on open source were investigated. As soon the investigation was able to fetch enough information, a search warrant was obtained from the Honorable Court on 9th February 21 against one Nikita Jacob, one of the editors of the toolkit Google document. On 11th January, Nikita and Shantanu attended a Zoom meeting organized by Poetic Justice Foundation in which the modalities of the Global Day of Action were worked out.
During investigation, police found 2 laptops and an iPhone from Nikita's residence containing sensitive documents. Incriminating material was also found at Disha's residence. Disha had also made a WhatsApp group to coordinate on the toolkit initiative that she later deleted. Delhi police arrested Disha Ravi in the case on Saturday. A Delhi court sent her to 5 days police custody. Shantanu and Nikita are still absconding. Non-bailable warrant has been issued against the two. Nikita Jacob has approached the Bombay High Court for protection from arrest. While the police is continuing with the investigation and the matter is now in the court, initial revelations indicate how some foreign powers were part of organized misinformation campaign and propaganda against India. With Mukesh Shukla, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
And BJP spokesperson Sambit Patra described the revelations as eye-opening. He asked for strict action to be taken against the alleged conspirators.
जिस प्रकार का खुलासा दिल्ली पुलिस ने अपने प्रेस वार्ता में किया है वो देश को चौंकाने वाला है। जिस टूल किट के विषय में पूरा देश सवाल उठा रहा था कि ये देश को तोड़ने वाला एक टूल किट था, उस टूल किट के षड्यंत्र को पूरी तरह से पर्दाफाश करके इस पीसी ने रखा है। और मुझे लगता है देश का कानून सर्वोपरि होता है। जो भी व्यक्ति देश को तोड़ने का प्रयत्न करे, कानून को उसका काम करना चाहिए, कानून को अपना काम बिल्कुल करना चाहिए। जो लोग उस पर विलाप करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, जो लोग अपनी राजनीतिक रोटी इस पर सेकने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं, कहीं ना कहीं वो देश के साथ, देश की अखंडता और देश के संप्रभुता के साथ खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं। दिल्ली पुलिस ने स्पष्ट रूप से कहा है, कुछ बैंड ऑर्गेनाइजेशन, ऐसे ऑर्गेनाइजेशन जिनको हिंदुस्तान की सरकार ने बैन कर रखा है, उनका इसके पीछे हाथ था और बिल्कुल ये उचित नहीं है।
Some other news now. Centre has taken historic decision to completely deregulate geospatial mapmaking and unshackle geospatial sector in India for the first time in over 7 decades. The reforms will provide a huge impetus to Digital India, liberalize policies governing acquisition and production of geospatial data. This will be a massive step forward in our vision for self-reliant India. Here's more.
Data has been described as a driver of growth and change in the 21st century, much like oil was in the 20th century, with the global data economy expected to generate $13 trillion globally in the new economic activity by 2030, and it is expected geospatial data will play a big role in it. The Centre on Monday has taken a historic decision to completely deregulate geospatial map making and unshackle the geospatial sector in India for the first time in over 7 decades. Prime Minister Modi in a tweet said, the reforms will unlock tremendous opportunities for our country's startups, private sector, public sector and research institutions to drive innovations and build scalable solutions. This will also generate employment and accelerate economic growth. He added that farmers will also be benefited by leveraging the potential of geospatial and remote sensing data. Democratizing data will enable the rise of new technologies and platforms that will drive efficiencies in agriculture and allied sectors. Addressing a press conference, Union Minister for Science and Technology, Dr. Harshvardhan, unveiled the draft guidelines for the creation, acquisition, dissemination and use of geospatial data generated by various agencies, including maps for the country, so that the data can be made accessible.
We strongly feel that geospatial data is critical for success of modern industry, offering location-based services such as e-commerce, delivery and logistics, urban transport, and it is also essential for traditional sectors of economy.
Geospatial data is an integral part of the modern digital ecosystem and critical for unlocking economic, social and environmental opportunities for sustainable growth and development of the country. Dr. Jitendra Singh said that unshackling the geospatial sector would play a stimulating role for the space industry, as this sector is at the core of cutting-edge technologies like 5G.
Space technology and mapping would no longer be confined only as a tool to take care of the security areas, but also as a major tool for the development. We have now actually entered a phase or an era where space technology has virtually entered every Indian household in one way or the other.
There has been immense progress over the years in technology for the capture of geospatial data through ground-based survey techniques, photogrammetry using manned-unmanned aerial vehicles, terrestrial vehicle using mobile mapping system, LIDAR, radar, interferometry, satellite-based remote sensing, mobile phone sensors and other technologies. The availability of comprehensive, highly accurate and constantly updated representation of geospatial data will significantly benefit diverse sectors of the economy and will significantly boost innovation in the country and greatly enhance the preparedness of the country for emergency response. Mukesh Shukla's report for DD India.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Japan's ambassador to India, Satoshi Suzuki, took part in Act East Policy Convention and India-Japan Cooperation Program in Guwahati. Addressing the convention, External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar said that Assam has a key role to play in Act East policy.
The centre's Narendra Modi government puts priority on the Act East policy. In a move to carry forward the Act East policy, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Japan's ambassador to India, Satoshi Suzuki, attended a convention on Act East policy and India-Japan cooperation in Northeast India with special focus on Assam. This convention was held in Guwahati. Addressing the event, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar said, Assam has long been the bridge between India and the world to the east. And ever since Narendra Modi government came to power in 2014, these linkages have been once again strengthened. He said, Assam has a key role in India's Act East policy.
Act East policy of the Modi government. This is an approach to create connectivity to and within Assam, beyond to the northeast, then to neighboring Myanmar and Bangladesh, but eventually push all the way by road, by sea, by air, to Vietnam, to Japan. A more connected Assam will be a more energetic Assam, a more contributing Assam, and obviously a more employed Assam.
External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar also added that within a decade, the India-Japan partnership is natural and close. He cited the awarding of Padma Vibhushan to former Japan PM Shinzo Abe as symbolic of the journey the two countries share. Dr. S. Jaishankar termed Japan's cooperation in India's modern infrastructure and development projects as very crucial and significant.
Japan was the original model for the revival of Asia after Western colonialism. It has long been involved in the expansion of our economic and social infrastructure. Across our states and cities, Japanese official development assistance has funded roads, rail, urbanization, and energy. Recent flagship projects include the Delhi-Mumbai Industrial Corridor and dedicated freight corridors to the east and the west.
While addressing the event, Japanese envoy to India, Satoshi Suzuki, urged businessmen to choose Assam for starting business and assured that the Japanese government can offer development assistance for necessary infrastructure.
Just last month, Foreign Secretary, I signed a new memorandum of cooperation for specified skilled workers. This is a new scheme under which more skilled Indian nationals can come to Japan and work like Japanese nationals. I'm sure our efforts will further open the door for talented people of Assam and Northeast to find job opportunities in Japan.
External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and Japan's envoy to India, Satoshi Suzuki, reached Assam on Sunday evening on a two-day visit to review Indo-Japan projects. Earlier, both the dignitaries visited the Japan International Cooperation Agency JICA-funded Guwahati water supply project site along the Brahmaputra River in Guwahati. They also visited the historic Kamakhya temple and offered prayers. The arrival of External Affairs Minister and Japanese envoy in Guwahati together not only reflects the strong friendship between India and Japan, but is being seen as a strong step towards Act East policy of the NDA government. With Mridu Smita in Guwahati, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi will address a webinar for consultation on roadmap for effective implementation of Union Budget 2021-22 in infrastructure sector on Tuesday. More than 200 panelists, including representatives of major financial institutions, funds, consultants, subject matter experts, will participate in it. The panelists will share their ideas on improving pace, quality of infrastructure development with a focus on advanced technology and attracting more investments in the sector. This will be followed by two parallel breakout sessions involving discussions between senior officials of groups of ministries and cross-sectional experts to come up with list of implementable projects. The aim is to fast-track implementation of the budget vision and draft an implementation roadmap. Union Home Minister Amit Shah held a review meeting with officials of Union Home Ministry, Union Culture Ministry as well as INB Ministry on preparations for celebrations of 75th year of India's independence. The meeting also reviewed progress of work for celebrations marking 400th Prakash Purab of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji and 125th Jayanti of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Dr. Ajay Mathur, Director General, Delhi, has been elected as the Director General of International Solar Alliance. As the Government of India's nominee for the position, he was elected unopposed by the 89-country Assembly of the ISA. Dr. Mathur replaces Mr. Upendra Tripathi, who served as Director General since the ISA was founded in 2015.
Honored by the faith reposed in me by the Assembly of the International Solar Alliance to lead this alliance into the future. I am ambitious about what the alliance and its members can achieve together. I look forward to work with all the member countries in integrating solar applications into their country's own energy strategies and to welcoming new members, especially now that the Assembly has enabled universalization of membership to all the UN members. As we look to the future, I look forward to work together with all the members and partners and ensure that we move to a transition to safer and more sustainable and prosperous and equitable future through the use of solar energy.
Extensive rescue work continues in the Himalayan state of Uttarakhand in the aftermath of glacier disaster. Operations are on in Srinagar, Rudraprayag, Karnaprayag, Nandaprayag, Tapawan, Rishiganga and Niti Valley. A total of 55 dead bodies have been recovered so far. Many more are still missing. More in this report.
Trails of destruction can be seen scattered along the banks of the Rishiganga river. Amidst all this, rescue efforts also continue at a frantic pace. So far, 9 dead bodies have been retrieved from the Tapawan tunnel and 7 have been recovered at the Rishiganga power project site. A total 55 dead bodies have been recovered, out of which 29 have been identified. 55 family members have given samples for DNA matching to help in identifying the remaining bodies. NTPC has announced that it will give rupees 20 lakh each to kin of 140 people who are either missing or dead.
जो लोग NTPC कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स का थ्रू काम कर रहे थे, इन लोगों को सारे का रिकॉर्ड कॉन्ट्रैक्टर पास होगा, ठीक है, क्योंकि इसका सबका हमने पीएफ का इंसिस्ट करते थे एंड हम लोग कंफर्म करते थे. दूसरा है जितना लोगों को वर्कर्स कंपनसेशन पॉलिसी, जितना लोग हमारे इधर काम कर रहे हैं सबका वर्कर्स कंपनसेशन पॉलिसी में रिकॉर्डेड है. तो जितनी लोगों को मिसिंग एंड बाद में अनफॉर्चुनेट अगर ये मृत मिले, इन सबको हमने आइडेंटिफाई करके 20 लाख रुपया डायरेक्ट देंगे और वर्कर्स कंपनसेशन पॉलिसी से 5 से 15 लाख का राशि दिलवाएंगे.
NDRF teams are working day in and day out along both sides of the river to find those missing. Operations are on in Srinagar, Rudraprayag, Karnaprayag, Nandprayag, Tapovan, Rishiganga and Niti Valley. Team DD India has reached the barrage of the Tapovan tunnel. NDRF teams are using JCB machines to remove debris and slush to gain access into Tunnel 4. Meanwhile, the army is building a temporary bridge at Rainy Village so that villages cut off after the disaster can be reconnected. An alarm system has also been installed by the NDRF. Run by solar power, it sounds a warning when water levels rise. With Chandrasekhar, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
Some COVID update. India continues to achieve new milestones in the fight against the COVID pandemic. It has already delivered 8 million vaccine doses to frontline workers. Kerala, Maharashtra, Karnataka account for most number of COVID cases in the country, while some semblance of normalcy is returning with the opening of educational institutions in different parts of the country. On Monday, colleges in Kashmir reopened. Meanwhile, Health Minister emphasized the importance of maintaining social distancing, COVID-appropriate behavior amid the pandemic, and added that the nation will administer vaccines for people above 50 years of age in the month of March.
India has ramped up its COVID-19 vaccination drive, becoming the fastest in the world to go past 8 million vaccine doses, which has further strengthened its battle against COVID-19. Health Minister Harshvardhan said that nearly 85 lakh healthcare and frontline workers have been vaccinated. In the next phase of COVID-19 vaccination drive, vaccines will be administered to people above 50 years of age in the next 2 to 3 weeks.
जो एक बड़ी कैटेगरी है 50 साल से ऊपर के लोग, इनको भी मार्च के महीने में हम वैक्सीन देने की स्थिति में आ रहे हैं. और खाली ये 2 वैक्सीन नहीं, कम से कम 18-20 वैक्सीन्स के ऊपर अलग-अलग स्टेजेस में काम हो रहा है.
The country is witnessing a progressive increase in the vaccinations day by day. Over 85 lakh doses of COVID-19 vaccines have been administered so far in the country.
The total vaccination which has been carried out is of 85,16,385 beneficiaries. The vaccination to the healthcare workers is for 61,54,894 till 6 p.m. today, out of which first dose of the vaccine has been given to 60,57,162. The second dose has been given to 97,732 beneficiaries.
Kerala and Maharashtra are adding most of the new cases in the country. Kerala, Maharashtra and Karnataka account for over 77% of India's total active cases, while Kerala and Maharashtra together compose 74.72% of the total active cases. Kerala reported highest daily new cases with 4,612, along with Maharashtra with a sharp rise in new COVID-19 cases at 4,092 reported. Tamil Nadu logged over 470 new cases in the last 24 hours. 6 states account for 80% of the daily deaths with maximum casualties. Maharashtra and nearly 44.44% of the daily deaths. Health Minister Dr. Harshvardhan urged people to keep following COVID-19 appropriate behavior.
बहुत सारे लोगों के मन में ये बात आई है कि अभी तो वैक्सीन भी आ गई है और कोविड के केसेस भी बहुत कम हो गए हैं, इसलिए मास्क लगाओ या ना लगाओ, मास्क को घर में छोड़ के आओ, मास्क को गले पर लटका कर रखो, सोशल डिस्टेंस मेंटेन करके रखो या ना रखो, कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ेगा, अब तो वैक्सीन आ ही गई है. प्रिकॉशंस लेना है, जिसको पूरे 1 साल में सोशल वैक्सीन का नाम देता रहा, अभी भले ही सोशल वैक्सीन के साथ रियल वैक्सीन भी आ गई है, एक तरफ रियल वैक्सीन का इस्तेमाल करना है, एक तरफ इस सोशल वैक्सीन का भी इस्तेमाल करना है।
Nation's total active caseload currently stands at 1.39 lakh as on Monday, which is 1.28% of India's total positive cases. 33 states and UTs have reported less than 5,000 active cases in the last 24 hours. With inputs from Urmilesh Bhatt, Newsnight Desk, DD India.
In Myanmar, ousted leader Aung San Suu Kyi was remanded to custody till Wednesday as protesters gathered in Yangon demanding her release. Protesters vow not to accept the coup, demand release of Suu Kyi and end of military rule. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has expressed deep concern over the situation in Myanmar, including increasing use of force and reported deployment of additional armoured vehicles in major cities of the country.
Monday saw the crisis in Myanmar heading towards a standoff between the pro-democracy supporters and the military-led government. Myanmar's military leaders extended their detention of the deposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi, whose remand was set to expire Monday and whose freedom is a key demand of the crowds of people continuing to protest this month's military coup. Meanwhile, security forces in Myanmar deployed armoured vehicles in major cities 2 weeks after the military overthrew Suu Kyi's government. Aung San Suu Kyi's lawyers said that they weren't allowed to contact her.
We will try to meet Aung San Suu Kyi again, so there were no opportunities to meet them at all.
A video released by a local news website showed Myanmar security forces firing to disperse protesters in Myitkyina, where hundreds had gathered outside a power plant to demonstrate protest. Anti-coup protesters surrounded the headquarters of the detained leader Aung San Suu Kyi's National League for Democracy party. Rows of heavily armed soldiers were seen guarding the building. Protests were also held outside Naypyidaw prison, after which high school students were released. Myanmar's military has spelt out punishment that can be imposed on protesters. In a statement on their Facebook page, the military government said, "Whoever attempts to excite dissatisfaction towards the government established by law or for the union or for the constituent units or the defense services or defense services personnel shall be punished with imprisonment which may extend to 20 years with fine, or with imprisonment which may extend to 7 years with fine or fine." This hasn't deterred protesters. Innovative forms of protests like breakdance continue on the streets of Yangon and Naypyidaw, as well as other parts of Myanmar. Internet was snapped over the weekend and has only been partially restored in the beleaguered country. International pressure also continues on Myanmar. The United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has once again expressed deep concern over the situation in Myanmar. The Secretary General called upon the Myanmar military and police to ensure the right of peaceful assembly of the protester. The Australian Embassy in Myanmar has also released a joint statement calling on security forces to refrain from using violence against protesters and civilians, denouncing the military's interruption of communication in the country. Newsnight Desk, DD India.
And with that, we conclude this bulletin. Namaskar.